like I said, just your average baseball fan who knows how to push pixels.
Welcome to the Keep Baseball Great podcast, where we're all about reminding baseball fans why they love the game. In this episode, we're going to talk with Peter from JumboTron Art. And if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you will absolutely love what he is doing at JumboTron Art. In this episode, we get to talk with him about what inspired him to start JumboTron Art, some of his favorite baseball moments, and how the pandemic has actually created a great baseball moment with him and his son. So I think you will enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and take a listen. Well, hey, Peter, thanks so much for joining me on the Keep Baseball Great podcast. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm always up for talking about baseball.
Awesome. Well, so I don't want to give away exactly what you're into, but I will just say growing up in the 80s and 90s, you had me at Jumbotron because I just love sports and I love obviously pixel art. I do graphic design also. And so, that kind of resonates with me, but also growing up in the Nintendo and 8-bit, kind of world. The way you've meshed those two are awesome. So thank you for the art. And I figured, hey, it would be great to have you on as a guest. So
Thanks.
yeah. So before we jump into our 5 questions, I'd love for you to just kind of tell everyone who you are, kind of a little bit more about Jumbotron Art, and then really why you do it.
Yeah, so I'm Peter Chen, just a baseball fan like yourself and so many others out there. Happened to grow up during what I call that great era. I'm not saying it's the best because everyone thinks they have the best era, but
Right.
it was definitely a great era. And I've always just, I've done baseball art my whole life. It's just always been an easy source of inspiration. Um, and I didn't realize till later on, maybe even more recently, how much I just enjoyed um, just the sports action, the athleticism and the poses and stuff like that. Um, and so Jumbotron Art was just something I started, probably like almost 10 years ago. Um, it was just one in many different styles of baseball art that I had done over the years. And it's just one that really kind of fit, like you said, the era that we grew up in. And I had always wanted to try doing images with kind of like these dots and pixels. Um, and so just one year I just thought I would do it, and I sent it to a friend, and he got excited about it, and I got excited, and then it just kept going from there. And then until recently, you just start to see how much people enjoy some of the old vintage retro stuff. So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, and you've actually it's been picked up on like MLB Network and MLB and some other things, right?
Yeah. It's talk about coming around full circle, and just having Harold Reynolds talk about your art
Yeah.
On TV is exciting. That was fun. So yeah, just like I said, just your average baseball fan who knows how to push pixels.
Well, I love it, man. The art is it reminds me of like you said, the good old days of when I fell in love with baseball. And like you said, I agree. Like I didn't realize until later in my life like how much I really appreciated that time. As a kid and growing up, it just is what it is until you get older. And I've got a son now, and so you start to kind of lean on these memories and ideas of when you were a kid, and your art definitely does that. So it's really cool.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So keep baseball great. We always ask these five same questions to all our guests. I just love hearing what it is people love about baseball. So if you're ready, we'll dive into those.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So the first one is all about the history of the game, and I love history in general, but the baseball history itself is. I love the pastime of it, and so I love it. But tell me, what are some of your favorite historical moments in baseball?
So I kind of was thinking about that question. I came up with three, three answers. So probably the first one I would say was the 75 World Series Game 6.
Okay.
Fisk's home run. Um, I think when you kind of go back and kind of look at it and hear people talking about it, you realize just how special that game was, because there are thoughts like that game had a little bit of everything, offense, defense, extra innings, you name it, comebacks, back and forth. And then the one thing that Pete Rose mentioned in his comments was just how much fun that game was.
Mm.
And to me, that kind of just spoke about like how he kind of like maybe forgot about just the hype of everything, and he was just playing for just sheer joy, or just for pure love of the game. And so if Pete Rose could say something about that game being having that kind of meaning for him, I was definitely interested in that game. Yeah, it's a great game. Just so many things in that game.
Yeah, and didn't you do an animation of Carlton Fisk in the JumboTron Art?
I did one recently, and that was, I was trying to capture just what Fisk was to the Boston faithful and all that. So that was fun.
That's awesome. I'll have to link to that in the show notes. But I remember seeing that and I was like, oh man, that's so good.
My other favorite game was, maybe not game, but the 81 World Series, because that was kind of like the when I started following the Dodgers, when I first got into baseball. I was just such a Garvey, Russell, Lipson Say fan. And so that was kind of that culmination of that team, even though that was actually at the beginning of when I kind of first started watching baseball. So, and then maybe the other one is the 02 World Series. I'm predominantly an Angels fan, so
okay.
I don't know what it is about these different divisions now, division series, league championship series. Well, actually, they had the wild card too, right? But it seems like nowadays the stakes are just so much higher, because you have to go through so many more rounds just to get to the World Series, right? And so in that process, there's just so many ups and downs for a World Series champion, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just it's like a roller coaster ride, basically, right? It's like, and if you win the World Series as a team, like that's like the ultimate roller coaster ride, right?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. That's funny. So I'm actually I'm in the DFW area. I'm a Rangers fan. But I remember, 010, 011, those two runs to the World Series.
Ouch.
I know. I was actually at Game 6 in 2011 in St. Louis, and it was the best game I've ever been to. Just because it was, Rangers are up and then they're down, extra innings, and so. But like you said, it's you never know what you're going to get at a baseball game, and it's just like you said, a roller coaster, and so that's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, cool. So the next one is just family and friends. I know I've got a lot of experiences with family and friends, and my son going to baseball games or playing baseball. Just a lot of great memories. So, what are some of your most best moments with family and friends through baseball?
Yeah, I think probably tops on my list is when my son was in Little League. He's 15 now, so he's a lot older. But when he was in Little League, just being able to pitch to him, for the first time, kind of early on when they still had coach pitching, and then just so just to be able to do that, it's kind of like father and sons playing catch. That was very, very special for me. Yeah, it meant a lot to me.
Yeah, so my son is he'll be 14 in April.
Okay.
And so but you're right, like every time I go and throw with him, like I have to like slow down and realize what a great moment this is.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams was on the other night, and just that moment when he plays catch with his dad, after all those years, it's the same thing. So you kind
Yeah.
of you sometimes you forget those moments when you're just able to play catch with your son, or throw BP with him or whatever. But
Yeah. I never take it for granted.
yeah.
Um, that's actually my favorite movie. So
Oh,
I,
nice.
I,
It's so funny going into the baseball movies. There's so many good ones. But yeah, that is definitely on the tops of mine as well. So, and it's funny. There's probably a handful of them, like The Natural and Sandlot and Field of
Mm,
Dreams, where they all end with the son playing catch with their dad.
mm,
And so,
mm,
you just see the significance of that, and what they
yeah.
don't think anything of it, but us as a father, it's kind of like a cool moment. So
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah.
yeah. Well, cool. So kind of going on same lines of throwing ball with your son, it's
Mm,
kind of teaching him life lessons along the way. And I know I've more recently tried to teach him or show him life lessons through baseball, because that's just what he's into. And so I just think it's one of the great things about baseball. So give me some of your best life lessons that you've been able to learn, or maybe even be able to teach your son through the game.
yeah. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know if I had the best advice, but as much as I've just observed how, kind of like life is not a sprint, it's
Mm,
more like a marathon, right? Because,
yeah,
baseball is not a sprint. It's not um, just, a one game match, but it's 162 games. So there's a lot of ups and downs there. So
yeah,
if you make a mistake one day, just come back tomorrow because there are a lot of games to play.
yeah. Yeah, that is spot on. And I was thinking about this earlier too, when you were talking about the playoffs. Like that's what I love about baseball's playoffs is, except for the wild card, obviously, but is the 5 and 7 game series. It's not like other sports where except for basketball, where you have a series of games that you've got to compete over the stretch.
Right.
But you're right. That's such a great life lesson. To learn and to teach. I feel like a lot of times I'm trying to teach my son these things, when in reality it's probably me that needs to hear it.
Yeah, that's
uh,
right. Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
I've used the game probably more or less to learn life lessons myself than anything else. But uh,
Cool.
well, cool. So the next one's giving back. I've just noticed throughout the game, and throughout, especially like MLB players using their platform to give back to the
Mm,
game. Even I've talked a lot about little league coaches just giving back their time to teams and
mm,
players like that. But I just feel like it's a big part of baseball. And I even noticed on your website, I think part of the
mm,
proceeds of that
mm,
um, go to help. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that as well. But
mm.
what are some of your best giving back moments through baseball that you've been able to experience?
And I mean, I think yeah, just kind of even just offering to coach little league, just be one of the coaches, helping out, um, and then recently was kind of helping out with um, a fundraiser for the Negro League Baseball Museum.
Yeah,
So just kind of using, I guess, kind of my art talents combined with baseball to sell work that would, you know, go directly to the museums. Um, and also for Children's Hunger Fund, especially now with the pandemic, just to be able to provide food for those who are food insecure. That can only be a good thing. So
for sure.
Yeah, and then I think even just sharing artwork on Instagram, it's people connect with the art. It helps connect people to each other with shared experiences. So I think in that way, that's a form of giving back, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd say. So.
Yeah, for sure. I know, like I said before, I know your art did exactly that for me when I saw it. It's just something that, small. And you're right, the baseball community, whether it's, different levels of it, the baseball art community really came together to do a lot for the Negro League, whether it was apparel or print posters or things like that. So that was really cool to see, and that's cool you got to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome. So I love that. Yeah, that's a lot of cool things happen when you give back, and I think, like you said, it really brings people together, especially in the baseball community. So so the last question is just all about fun. You got to have fun when you're playing a game, and so that's what baseball was created for, is just to have fun. So what are some of your most fun moments you've been able to have through baseball?
Let me see. I think, maybe recently when the pandemic started, man, my son had to do the distant learning thing. He still had PE, so that required that he had to go outside for half an hour every day and do something. And so we actually ended up playing catch every day for like half an hour. He was pretty tedious about making sure that he had exactly the 30 minutes. So can you imagine that? Like I get to play catch with my son. It's the middle of the pandemic, but I get to play catch with him every day for half an hour. You can't beat that in terms of father-son time. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. Some other fun moments. First game, going to Dodger Stadium. Everyone always talks about it, right? The first time you walk through the concrete tunnel and you see the green diamond in front of you, it just kind of blows you away. The whole scale of Major League Baseball, right? So that was just such a great memory. And I remember that we were sitting in the left field. Actually, it was kind of like still around the main part of the stadium. So, but it was almost in the upper deck, right next to the left field foul pole. So, if you look back at home plate, like the players are just like ants, and you can barely see. And it's like my first game. But my dad was like, "Oh, these tickets are, affordable."
Yep. So, I still do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just remember I was just super excited to be there, even though I was so far away. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've made many great moments with my son going to the ballpark here in Arlington, watching games, and so I hope I've created that with him. Just those memories and the fun that he's been able to have going to those games. But even going back to the playing catch with your son, one of the best baseball drills I tell people is to grab a ball and grab a glove. Go play catch with your son and ask him about life. And that's
go.
it,
Yeah.
Cool. I think it's kind of one of those things where it's, don't worry about form or, don't put pressure on him to throw harder. It's just, hey, let's just talk about life, man. So it's really cool. You got to have those moments too.
One of the cool things that we were doing while we were playing catch was, we were experimenting with different kinds of pitches, and because he's got more of a engineering mind, and so he wants to kind of, like, if you say like screwball or knuckleball, he's like, he's totally listening, like, what, how do you do that,
Yeah.
So we were playing around with just throwing anything and everything, and yeah, it was a blast.
That's cool. Yeah, just having fun, man. Just having fun.
Right.
Well, that's awesome. Well, great, man. Peter, thank you so much for just kind of diving into a little bit about what makes baseball great for you. Sounds like a lot of cool moments and a lot of cool things you've been able to be a part of through your art and with your son too. So appreciate it.
Thanks, Drew.
So
Appreciate it.
yeah, before we go, I'd love for people to find your art. You even have a book out that has a lot of this art too, and I have a lot of those on my wish list for sure. So, but tell people where they can find you online.
Yeah, if you go to JumboTronArt.com, you'll see my store and some things for sale. Or you can just follow me on Instagram, JumboTron Art. I'm not much of a social media guy other than Instagram, so that's probably the best way to just kind of reach me, or chit chat through the posts and stuff. So
yeah, yep. I definitely follow you on Instagram for sure, and there's a lot of good stuff. So it's a good follow for sure. So. Well, awesome, Peter. Thanks so much for joining me, and thanks for keeping baseball great.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it.
Yep. A big thanks to Peter for just taking the time to talk with us about what makes baseball great for him. Like I said, you guys will absolutely love the art he's doing over at JumboTron Art. So be sure to go to JumboTronArt.com and follow him on Instagram also. A lot of great stuff that he's doing. So thanks again to Peter, and for everyone out there, let's keep baseball great.